What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Player One channel, and today we got another review for you guys. This one's a long time coming, not that long, but this album came out in October 25th, and it is my favorite freaking band, blink-182, One More Time. And just to preface this, I've heard that Tom said this is not actually One More Time. This will not be their last album or music that they release. So that's cool. That's awesome. And I'll go into a little bit of detail about what I think about Tom coming back in a little bit. But first, we're just going to look at the track list, and I'll tell you guys what I think about all the songs here. And I chose the one that's the deluxe that they released a couple days after the regular album because they had two other tracks. So this is 19 tracks. I'll have to look this up later, but for a regular album, pretty sure this is their biggest regular album if you include 18 and 19. 17 and 18. Okay, so they reordered it to put Childhood last. That's pretty cool. Okay, so starting off with Anthem Part 3. I think it really ties in with Anthem Part 1 and Part 2, and in how Anthem Part 1 was like kind of like a loser anthem, and Anthem Part 2 was like a calling to arms, like a friend's anthem. And Anthem Part 3 is like you've lived the life that they've lived, and you came out on top, and what did you have to do that? That's how I kind of see Anthem Part 3. Anthem Part 3 is like literally anthemic. It is damn near the best track on this album. I might go into a top 5 later and decide whether it's first place or not. But that's my thoughts about Anthem Part 3. The lyrics are great. Tom's singing voice is great. And I think a lot of people have said this that I've seen on the internet and whatnot, is that Tom is kind of using his normal voice instead of trying to sing like professionally. We rather just hear him sing. I mean, he can do whatever he wants, obviously, but we all love his regular singing, and this is what we get from this album. We get his normal singing, which is awesome. It sounds like we're all the way back in 2003. I was a young child then, so I wouldn't remember, but older Blink fans can definitely attest to Tom's voice sounding very good on this album. Yeah, so we might talk a little bit about Anthem Part 3 again, but moving on to Dance With Me. Dance With Me starts off with a joke at the beginning that I'll just leave to you guys' imagination. You can listen to it, but it's hilarious. And it's in Blink fashion, of course. And this song is kind of risky in a way because I was reading a little bit about the song and the making of it, and originally the post-chorus was supposed to be the chorus for the entire song, but they decided to go with something more simple with the ole ole oles. I'm not really sure how I feel about it still, even though it's been a few months. The ole oles, they are catchy, but I'm neither here nor there about the ole oles, but it doesn't really ruin the song for me at all, because the song is a solid punk rock song. It's reminds me of definitely Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. So I'd say these two tracks are very Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Anthem Part 3 and Dance With Me. And that bodes well for Blink, because Take Off Your Pants and Jacket is amazing. Yeah, and Tom singing on Dance With Me is just as good as Anthem Part 3, if not better. It's like, wow. Holy crap. And I'm a huge Matt Skiba fan. I love California 9. And later I'll do a Blink rank of the albums So watch out for that. Since this album's been out for a while and I've listened to it for a while, so I kind of got a good feeling of how it fits with all the other Blink-182 albums. But Tom fills back in his shoes immediately on this album, which is great. And I think Matt filled in Tom's shoes very well, just to say that. But anyway, the third track, Fell in Love, is very solid. It's based off of a Cure song. The interlooped bass line and drums are based, and the guitar, of course, is based off of a Cure song. I forget the name. I think it's Close to Me or something like that. Man, I can't believe I forgot this. But yeah, it's based off of that Cure song, the Cure song. So, and that's a beautiful The Cure song, by the way. I love The Cure. But yeah, Fell in Love uses that to its advantage, and it's a great song. It's very poppy. I'm cool with it. I think Blink is sometimes strongest when they lean into their pop side and dash in a little punk there, because they probably consider themselves a punk band, but they can do whatever they want, and that's what's punk about it. But yeah, and this was written by the One Republic guy. I think it's Tyson something. But yeah, you can tell that somebody else wrote this song, but the way Tom and Mark sing it, they just own it like they wrote it, which they did write some of the lyrics, I think, for the song, I think. So yeah, solid track. So Terrified is the Boxcar Racer song that they've been teasing, and that Travis and Tom have been teasing, and it delivers in everything you'd expect for a Boxcar Racer song. It has that kind of angst that whole album had, and again, Tom's voice is superb on this song, and yeah, it's a solid track. It could have easily been on Boxcar Racer, and there's a reason why it's a new fan favorite, because everybody loved Boxcar Racer. So, and it's very cool that the guys are Tom, Mark, and Travis are so getting along so well that like there's no problem with this a Boxcar Racer type song being on a Blink album, because why not? I mean, sure, go for it. And I love that. It's kind of a theme with this album. They really just traipse around all they've done, It's almost like we revisit all of their landmark, albums, their styles. Like I was saying before, Anthem Part 3, Dance With Me, is like quintessential Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. And Fell in Love is a pop song that is very reminiscent of how there were great pop songs on Enema of the State. And yeah, so, and speaking of pop songs, the title track, One More Time, was, I believe it tied a record with Portugal the Man. I don't know that band. I'll have to check them out. But they had a longest running alternative rock or just alternative single charting on for 20 weeks, I think. And the people that just passed Blink, funny enough, is Sum 41 with Landmines, and that's an awesome track, by the way. Can't wait to review that album for you guys. It's going to be great. Love Sum 41. But yeah, One More Time was just played everywhere. Like, I heard it at the place that I work at, and I was like, huh? But yeah, One More Time is a hard-hitting track for sure. And I get when some people say, like, this is really a song that was made for them. It really wasn't made for the fans. I mean, it kind of was, but it was really just made for them to heal as a band. And I get that. And the lyrics are very personal. It's talking about Mark's fight with cancer, Travis having to deal with almost dying in a plane crash and losing his best friend. I mean, they don't really go into that detail, but like Travis went through a lot of crap. Yeah, and just had to build himself back up, and Mark had to build himself back up to even play bass again, which is a crazy inspiring story. But yeah, One More Time is a solid track. It's very reminiscent of I Miss You. And yeah, the lyrics are just hard hitting. It's like the lyrics go like, "Do I have to die to hear you miss me?" And it's like, holy crap. Like, it's pretty hard hitting. "Do I have to die to hear you say goodbye?" It's like, holy crap. Yeah, so that's kind of the weird part about it. It's like kind of hard to listen to, because if you have followed the Blink guys at all, like, that's a hard hitting song. So, and it's mostly acoustic, and I love the music video, by the way. It shows all of a bunch of past like music venues, like Daytona Beach, 2001, I think, when they were there, and some music videos, like locations on the green screen behind them. Go check out the music video, it's good. So yeah, the next track after that is More Than You Know, and immediately when I heard it, because this is one of the earlier songs they released as a single, More Than You Know is absolutely a untitled, self-titled, whichever way you want to call it, track. It sounds like it's straight from that album. It really does. And again, Tom singing, and the way he sings, it just sounds great. It sounds like we're back to form, basically. This album could have came out in 2005, and you wouldn't have thought a second about it. That's kind of what I like about this album. I don't know if they said this officially, but this might have been just fan talk. Probably it was. But it's almost like they were like, okay, what would have been the sound of an album if we made it, if the band never went on hiatus in 2004 or 5 or whenever it was, and they just came out with an album after Untitled? What would it sound like? And some of these tracks definitely don't fit into that, but some of them do. And I think Anthem Part 3, Dance With Me, possibly Fell in Love. Not sure about Terrified. I don't know if Terrified would have happened in 2005. But hey, I'm glad it happened now. And More Than You Know. So More Than You Know, Fell in Love, Dance With Me, Anthem Part 3, I think would have happened in a Blink album that came out after Untitled. That's just me. And there's some other tracks here that I think would have happened too. Yeah. I'll go over the top 5 in a second, but let's, spoiler alert, More Than You Know is definitely a contender. So we're going to keep moving. Turn This Off is number 7. This is really cool. So Travis apparently was working on a hardcore album, and he had to dredge it up real fast and make a bunch of tracks really quickly. And this is one of the track ideas that he made, I believe, with Tim Armstrong of Rancid and Operation Heavy. And it mostly features Travis singing, which is really cool. And it's actually, a ton of people thought it was only Travis, but it's actually Travis and Tom trading back vocals back and forth. And it's exactly what it is. It's a 30-second hardcore track, and wow, it is insanely good. I believe they play this on tour now, so can't wait to witness that. I'm going to try to see them on this next tour back in the States. But yeah, great track, so cool. Would not, you know how I've been saying, I've been setting songs as alarms. I would not be able to set the song as an alarm. It would, like, traumatized me because it goes so hard. But the next track after that is When We Were Young. And this is kind of the point in the album where you'd think there would be a throwaway track, but there's none. There's no skips. When We Were Young is a solid track, and it's almost like they made it for the When We Were Young Fest, but they didn't play it for the When We Were Young Fest, so maybe they didn't make it for that. I don't know, maybe it's like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, but I really like the song. Again, where would this fit in the blink-182 catalog? I feel like this is basically the sequel to When I Was Young on Dogs Eating Dogs. I love that song, by the way. But I see this as a sequel to that. So I could have seen this coming out on the next album if Tom didn't leave the second time. But yeah, When We Were Young, very solid. I love the riffs on that in particular. The next track is Edging. Edging's been out for a very long time. And before the album release, I think whole year. And it also held a record for a little bit of being on the Billboard until One More Time came out. And I think for some people, Edging is kind of worn off. But I think Edging is a good track. I'm cool with listening to it whenever. I have no qualms with that, with the song. It was a great celebration of Tom coming back, basically, with this track coming out almost 2 years ago at this point, sort of. Yeah, Edging's great. But yeah, sorry, thought my computer died. But after Edging is You Don't Know What You've Got. And this is another hard-hitting emotional track, just like One More Time. And it is what the title implies. It's mostly a Mark song, kind of. And with Tom coming in the chorus. Again, Tom with the strong singing. And Mark, of course, sings great as well in this album. Don't let me forget that. No skips. Love it. Next song is Blink Wave. I just noticed I have to hurry up because there's a ton of songs on this album. Blink Wave is like synthwave plus Blink. And it very much gives me kind of like the Always kind of vibes, where Always was supposed to be kind of like an 80s song. And this is absolutely an 80s song. So Blink Wave, I've seen people say they want to see this on tour. I want to see it on tour as well. It is great. Great chorus with Tom and great verses with Mark. I think Tom also does a verse on here. But yeah. Definitely a contender for top 5. Bad News is mostly a Mark song, and it is really good. It almost reminds me of kind of like where we were in the Neighborhoods album with Hearts All Gone. It's kind of like that kind of same speed and pace and meaning, and it is just as good as Hearts All Gone. Bad News is a banger. The next track is Hurt Interlude, and you can't even skip the interlude. The interlude's good too. What? Hurt Interlude is mostly Tom. I think it's all Tom. But it's like, I think it's a minute 40, minute 30, something like that. But yeah, it's like a callback to Angels and Airwaves. And it's very cool. It's like they're combining all of their side project land things. Boxcar Racer, Angels and Airwaves, and of course Mark being the voice of Plus 44. But it's like they're actually combining those ideas into a Blink album, and that is so cool. I would have to think about what would be the Plus 44 track on here. That's a good thing to think about. I would have to ponder that. Turpentine is basically what Blink is now. I could not see this on any other album but this album. This isn't like a nostalgia kind of feel. This is like just a new kind of Blink song, and I love it. It's great. There's a cool little clap sequence at the beginning and right before the drop, basically. This is mostly a Tom song. And it's also tongue-in-cheek and funny and serious at the same time. Yeah, it's a great song. Now, I actually don't remember F-Face. I think that it's a quicker track. Okay, it's coming back to me. It's kind of more like a Tom song. Another quick song, very similar to Turn This Off. Could have been kind of hardcore kind of feel. But yeah, this late in the album, to put that there right after her interlude is like, whoa, that's kind of risky, but it works. It's good. And after that is Other Side. Other Side is mostly a Mark song, and it's a very serious song, just like You Don't Know What You Got and One More Time. And I love the lyrics on this song. He says something about coffee in the song, and I'm a huge coffee person, so I was like, oh yeah, coffee. Oh. But yeah, Other Side is a good song. Hits you right in the feels every time. Okay, so in the original album, after Other Side would have been Childhood. But I'm going to go the way... Yeah, let's go the way the original album came out. Okay, so after Other Side was Childhood. And Childhood is a slower song, but it's almost kind of like One More Time, but plugged in, basically. And it has a very cool like video game outro at the end, which I get why they moved it towards the end, because that is why it's the ending track of the album, because it's basically just talking about like look at us now. Like, look at all this stuff that happened and look at where we are now. That's kind of the main theme of this album. And yeah, Childhood is solid. It's not my favorite track, but I definitely see the merit in it. Just me personally, I know people might like the song. Me personally, it's probably the weakest song on this album. Doesn't mean I don't like it. I do like it. I very much like the video game sound effects and intros and synths towards the end, in the middle, and stuff like that. That's how I feel about the Childhood track. Okay, so the bonus part, deluxe part, was Cut Me Off and See You. And to be honest with you guys, I feel like they could have kept these tracks in, because in the main album, and just be like, screw it, release a 19-track album. You know, you don't even need to release a deluxe, because these songs are just that good. They're both mainly Tom songs. I'm looking at the streams right now. I think these are just looks on the Genius app. We need to get the eye views on these songs up, because these songs are really, really catchy. And to me, they feel like basically new era Blink. Both of these feel like they could have been on California or 9. And oh yeah, by the way, speaking of that, I feel like More Than You Know could have been on 9 or California as well. I feel like When We Were Young also could have been. And that just means it's kind of like a newer feeling, like the newer Blink sound, which is cool with me. And when you have tracks like that, you can also compare them, because in my opinion, California sounds a lot like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. And 9, to me, kind of sounds and vibes with Untitled. So that's where I kind of see Cut Me Off and See You. Okay, so after going through all that, my top 5. Okay, this is going to be tough. I'm going to say number one, drums please, is Anthem Part 3. It has to be Anthem Part 3. Number one is Anthem Part 3 for the best song on the album. And we're just going to do top 5. Because it would take forever to rank all these, because I love all these songs. It's a great album. Anthem Part 3, number 1. Number 2. I would say number 2 is More Than You Know. It has both the best lyrics of Mark's in this album, and I think the best lyrics of Tom's in this album, kind of strangely enough. The best back and forth song, if you will. More Than You Know. So, in the Part 3, number 1, More Than You Know, Part 2, number 2. Number 3 goes to... I'm going to give love to the 17 and 18 tracks. Number 3 goes to Cut Me Off. That song is an absolute banger. Number 4 goes to... I'm going to give it to Turpentine. I really like Turpentine. And number 5, this is difficult. Number 5 goes to See You. I want to give love to Cut Me Off and See You. I get why they were put on deluxe, to sell more streams and yada. But both of those tracks, I cannot believe they did not make it onto the album. They are so freaking good. So those are my top 5. And to give you guys the review of this album, I cannot give it a perfect score. That would not be fair, since blink-182 is my favorite band. I need to be kind of impartial. So I am going to give it a 4 out of 5. I think that's pretty fair, because there might have been another album I would rank higher. And yeah, it is so close. So close to a 5 out of 5. But I'm going to give it a solid 4. I feel pretty good about that. Yeah, I love this album. It's great to see Tom back. I personally, I loved when Matt was in, but hey, if this is how, and these guys are brothers, literally. So, I mean, it's cool that Tom is back, and maybe someday they can have a feature with Matt. That'd be awesome. I would love that, because personally, I enjoyed the California and 9, but that doesn't take away from this album being great. This album is very solid. Go check it out if you are a Blink fan, or if you're not a Blink fan. I think it's great for new fans of Blink. I'm sure this will spawn many new fans. But anyway, I will catch you guys later. See y'all.